If countries were animals, what would they be? Instead of going with nations' national animals, we are going with the animals that seem to exemplify each country's status. Also, we're not going to judge who's who by the animal or country's factual status. Rather, we are judging this by how the animal or country is culturally perceived by people. Let's begin. USA. The lion, that is USA, is the top dog. Being that he is the king of the beasts, he is at very least a respected leader, even if he is not necessarily loved by all. He was at one point in a relationship with the leopard, the Great Britain, when she ruled the jungle, but eventually broke it off with her to do his own thing. He had a rivalry with the tiger, that is Russia, for a while, but that has simmered down to each having a grudging respect for the other. While he is certainly a terrible enemy to have, the lion has gotten more benevolent in recent years and can be a pretty good friend to have, often protecting some of the smaller animals. Many are annoyed that he always demands the lion's share of everything, especially meat, that is, the oil. Nevertheless, he has managed to keep relative peace in the forest at large, especially when implementing the pride. Whether you love him or hate him, no one can doubt that as of now, the lion is unquestionably the king. Russia. Russia would be a Siberian tiger who usually keeps to himself. If small animals come near him, then he may attack, but usually is content to stay in his part of the forest. He kind of resents the lion for taking the title of king, which he wanted at one point, but most would say that he has now mellowed in his old age. This, however, would be disputed by the smaller animals who live around him. They claim that he is always trying to eat them at any time that they come near him. Some cold winter nights, the tiger will gaze out of his den and think of how he was once nearly the king of beasts. Even though he is old and nowhere near as strong as he once was, one should never count the tiger out of the fight. China. China would be an old grizzled bear. He's been around for a long time, often going in and out of hibernation. He has been hibernating for a while, but has just recently woken up. The bear has turned out to be a powerful upcoming animal. Bigger than both the lion and the tiger, this animal would very much love to take the title King of Beasts, but is lacking in two areas. Firstly, he is not confident that he is fast enough or strong enough to beat the lion in a head-to-head fight, and is sure that even if he did manage to win, it would be a Pyrrhic victory, where he would be too injured to maintain the title of king. The second reason that the bear would rather not fight is that unlike the lion, he doesn't exactly have a pride to fall back on. While he's friendly with some animals, they aren't close enough to help him defeat the pride. So he sits and bides his time. Besides, the lion won't live forever, and when he gets weak, the bear will be waiting for him. Great Britain. The leopard came into the scene a bit earlier than the lion and the bear, and at this point is remembering the good old days. The leopard never left his cave, and she was pretty much considered to be the strongest animal around. She even had a large, strong litter of cubs, which worked well for a while until she was in a relationship with the lion, USA. And the lion rebelled and other cubs followed in suit. Now, the leopard is second in command of the pride after the lion. While normally easygoing, she has gotten into a bit of a fight with some of the animals in his part of the forest, the European Union, and has dissociated herself with them. She is also once again in a close relationship with the lion, and is still somewhat powerful. She just doesn't like to flaunt it as much as the lion does. Israel. The honey badger, that is Israel, is one of the new animals in the forest and a member of the pride. When he first moved in, some of the animals decided that they didn't want a weasel living in their neck of the woods and declared war. The badger fought back with such ferocity that everyone backed off pretty quickly. While the badger is feared in part because he will kick the out of anyone who messes with him, in truth, most animals don't mess with him because they know that if they can't beat someone up, the lion, who's pretty fond of this little guy, most certainly will. India. The bush elephant, that is India, was one of the largest animals in the forest. He's also pretty darn intelligent to boot. Unfortunately, the bush elephant has two problems. The first being that much of his intelligence goes to helping the lion USA and isn't used to benefit himself. The second is that despite his greater intelligence, he is very disorganized and has a hard time keeping a clear plan for his future. Due to these reasons, he is not one of the top-tier beasts, even though he theoretically has much potential. For some weird reason, he hates his cousin, the Asian elephant, that is, Pakistan, despite all of the other animals saying that they are actually pretty similar. Japan. Another member of the pride, the fox, that is Japan, is arguably one of the most intelligent animals in the forest. He was one of the 3 animals to go rogue and try to take over the forest. He did pretty well in the fight considering his size, and even hurt the bear, China, who, to be fair, was very sick and hibernating at this point pretty badly. However, made a mistake by attacking the lion USA for no apparent reason. This won the fox 2 bites out of his tail, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. While the fox did recover, with a good deal of help from the lion of all people, he was never really the same. Nowadays, although he is a member of the pride, he has nowhere near the same level of hard power he possessed previously.